Fine. Now, let me introduce Professor Krishnamurti. So he is the most experienced researcher among us, the participants now, and he is the honorary director of the Department of Mathematics of the CMS College Kottayam. So this department and this college are among the co-organizers of the SMARTI events. So it's my pleasure that Professor Krishnamurti kindly accepted our invitation despite his busy schedule to deliver his lecture on the recent advances in matrix analytic methods. So thank you so much, Krishnamurti, and I give you the mic. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Alex. It's really great. Thank you very much for the invitation. Though I just gave, or rather, you gave me the title as recent advances in matrix analytic methods. I chose to start from some elementary facts, and then I'm using very little of mathematics here. Mostly, it is a verbal presentation. There is very little of mathematics. So we just start with the symbol MM1Q and that in equilibrium with the arrival rate lambda and service rate mu. The traffic intensity rho equal lambda by mu less than 1 because I assume that it is in equilibrium. The system state, well, the system is completely defined in this case by prescribing the number of customers in the system. Because after all, the arrival process is Poisson, service time is exponentially distributed. So both have the lack of memory property, and therefore we don't require any further information to get a one-dimensional Markov chain. Suppose we denote by P sub n the number of probability that n customers are in the system in the long run when the system stabilized. So this is given by 1 minus rho into rho power n for n equal to 0, 1, so on. Now this is a continuous time Markov chain in one dimension. What happens if we replace arrival process by an Erlang of order k? That means sum of k independent identically distributed exponential random variables. And that is Erlang of order k. And or you can use either thing. Service distribution is Erlang with the of order m. So if we have only one Erlang distribution and the other is a exponential distribution, then we need a two-dimensional representation to get a continuous time Markov chain. For example, if it is arrival process that is Erlang, which is of order k and service time exponentially distributed, then what you have to specify is the arrival stage of the customer, that customer in the arrival process, and of course the number of customers in the system will do, or you can yes, that will be fine, that is enough. So we need a two-dimensional representation. If it is on the other hand the service time is Erlang distributed, arrival process is Poisson, then we have to specify which stage is the service, current service going on. And then of course you can say the number of customers in the system as the other coordinate. Now suppose both have Erlang distribution, then we need a three-dimensional representation. So in effect, the first case, if you look at the infinitesimal generator matrix, that was having only scalar entries. Along the diagonal, we have a minus of lambda plus mu. On the left side, the lower diagonal, we have mu, and the upper diagonal, we have lambda, indicating arrival. Lower diagonal mu stands for departure. Now, when it is a two or higher dimensional, that means when it is, for example, Erlang arrival process or Erlang service process or both combined, the earlier thing will not work. You cannot have probability as a, no, you will not get a probability as such, it is a probability vector. And from that you can just look at the marginal distributions. So here, The infinitesimal generator of the process will not have scalar entries, except for perhaps the northwest corner entry. Instead, they are finite dimensional block matrices of appropriate orders. How will one look like? One means that is the traffic intensity will be looking like, or for the other one, what is how the probability distribution will be looking like. In fact, it is a probability distribution that we are interested in. That is a status of the system or the system distribution. We notice that there is a QBD structure because now we have the block representation, block matrices as entries. So the tridiagonal structure is maintained. By tridiagonal structure, what I mean is earlier it was a tridiagonal structure with the entry scalars. Now it is block matrices, finite dimensional matrices. Now in these matrices, what we have are, one is what is called the level, which is indicating number of customers in the system. The other one indicates the arrival stage. Then there is a service stage. Or you can have as last one the arrival state of the arrival process. And then whenever an arrival takes place, that means it is just completed, then the upper diagonal element, there will be an increase. Similarly, a departure would mean that the customer leaves the system and therefore it is the lower diagonal. So in any case, we are getting the QBD structure. So it is natural to enquire its form. That means how the probability, now it is a probability, not the scalar, it is a probability vector that you are looking at. Now, as a note, I should mention that the infinitesimal generator can be infinite dimensional blocks. A very simple situation is something like this. Suppose we have a queue. Now, from this queue, customers interrupt their service, and the moment they interrupt their service, not necessarily all the customers, some customers interrupt their service. So it is called self-interruption. They are driven to a second queue. So then the first, until all the customers in the first queue are served out, the server will not move to the second queue. And then we can think of a thing like something like a preemptive service or non-preemptive service. In either case, what we have is, now you can have still more queues generated. Suppose a customer while in service in the second queue interrupts his own service, then he will be driven to a third queue. You can have a finite number of such queues. And therefore, you can have infinite dimensional block matrices themselves. This will be, in certain cases, very simple, certain cases it's exceedingly complex. But we have looked at this particular problem that I mentioned, that self-interruption of service while in service. When arrival process is postponed, service time exponentially distributed. Even if it is phase time distributed, there is absolutely no problem. Still, you will get a very nice structure. And we were able to, it was in 2017, that paper appeared in a bulletin of Calcutta Statistical Association. We could arrive at a very nice structure, the what is called the matrix R, rate matrix. That turned out to be upper triangular, and we are getting exact expressions for the probability distribution. Now, we come to Marshall-Newts. Now, just more than the problem is of how to handle such a situation, what was rather bothering Newts, the great probabilist who is no more, was looking for ways to save research in queuing theory from getting drowned, in the sense that in the late 60s and early 70s, 1970s, it was believed that, and Thomas Sati, in fact, lamented that queuing theory, the research in queuing theory is coming to a dead end. The reason was that the researchers were getting expressions rather in terms of the Laplace transforms, which were turning out to be not invertible. And so, how to handle such a situation? Something, an object which cannot give the nature of the function that we require, if you cannot get that, no information will be available. So Marcel was bothering about how to get over this difficulty. So in that process, he first developed what is called the pH distribution. It is in fact the Tyndall absorption in a finite state space Markov chain with one, or you can have several absorbing states, but all other states transient. So from that, well, this has a great advantage that this pH distribution is dense in the class of all distributions on the real line with the non-negative part of the real line as support. And they are, suppose they have a rational rational Laplace Steele transform, then what happens is that such distributions can be approximated by the phase tape distribution. And of course, there is still a problem remaining yet to be solved, what is called a minimal representation. I'll talk about that provided time permits at the end of this presentation. Now, the Marcel Newitz in this process developed an algorithmic approach. That means, well, because now phase type distribution can be used for representing any general distribution with the properties I just mentioned. So, he developed what is called the matrix geometric method. Why matrix geometry? Because for the MM1Q, we are getting the limiting probability distribution when it is a stable process. It is in equilibrium as a geometric distribution, 1 minus rho into rho power n. So he was wondering, why not we get some form similar to that, but with suitable modifications, because that one is a scalar, but now we have matrix entries, and accordingly there will be some changes. And he really succeeded in doing that. So what he came up with is finally that the X sub n, which stands for n customers in the system, it is a vector in fact. And then in addition to that, what is the status? For example, it may be phase tape service or just Erlang distributed service time or arrival process Erlang. So many factors can be there. So X sub n, it is a vector standing for n customers in the system, and there are other factors explaining the various stages or phases involved in the problem. So then it is given in terms of no customer in the system, and there may be some arrival process going on. Of course, there is no service because there is no customer in the system. And then R power n. R is standing for what is called the rate matrix. Well, it is computed algorithmically. It's a well-known procedure. Now, this turned out to be a very huge leap forward, and the research in queuing theory once again gained momentum. However, there were a number of challenges. In fact, the R above is a minimal non-negative solution to the matrix quadratic equation R square into A2. A2 is in fact the lower diagonal entry plus RA1 plus A0. This is equal to 0. It's a matrix quadratic equation. R is the matrix, A2, all these are matrices of the same order. Where the matrices A2, A1, A0 are square matrices of the same order occurring in the tridiagonal form of the QBD from stages when a repeating structure starts in the QBD. You may not be able to get a repeating structure at the very beginning. It may take a few rows to arrive at what is called a repeating structure. So if that repeating structure can be arrived at, then this can be, that formula can be this one xn equal to x naught r power n can be employed. Or sometimes it may not be in terms of x naught, maybe at a higher level, x sub some m. In that case, it will be r power n minus m. That's the only change. Now, suppose our QBD. Now, naturally, the question will be arising. What will happen if we don't have, we have what is called a level dependent QBD process? So in that case, we had to introduce truncation. There are so many truncations, types of truncations available. We could, there could be no repeating structure in the infinitesimal generator. What is the way out? One way is to chop off the infinitesimal generator from a certain, that means just to remove the rest of the things. I'll just look at a maximum of n customers in the system. But what is the guarantee that the system size will not go beyond, number of customers in the system will not go beyond that n? Even if you choose sufficiently large n, there are limitations. You will get a finite matrix and manipulations will be easier. That's only advantage. But so many information may be lost. How to minimize that loss? So think of something better, imposing a repeating structure from certain level onwards. So I just underlined the word impose. So with that idea in mind, Newton and Rao, Questa, Queuing Systems, Theory and Applications, 1990, Bright and Taylor Truncation, Stochastic Models, 1995. Then there was Arthaloho-Pozo truncation, but that is very rarely seen to be used because it is limited in application. Only certain, very recently I could employ this Arthaloho-Pozo truncation on a special occasion. So I was feeling very happy about it because at least one example I could find out where this could be done. And then there is what is called fall-in truncation. The Newton-Rao truncation, what is done is, you just look at, let's look at a certainly large n and fix an epsilon, but then this n will be depending on epsilon, or you can just say epsilon depending on this n. But it's more appropriate, once you are fixing an epsilon, then you have to find out an n depending on epsilon. That is a more appropriate way of putting it. Such that the tail part, that means beyond that n, the system state probability of the system state exceeding that n is less than epsilon. That is the crux of the Newton-Rao truncation. In fact, in all these things, that is essentially the crux. Fall-in just assumes that after a certain stage, the system will be behaving after a long, that means when the number of, the level is very large, the behavior of the system is the same. Beyond that, the behavior of the system is same. But even that is too much of an assumption. In Newton-Rao truncation, truncate at a level beyond, okay, I have already, in Bright-Taylor procedure, that requires construction of a dominating process. So first construct a dominating process that dominates the present one, and then we ensure that the dominating process itself has that property that is specified in the Neustral truncation. Therefore, our process will have the same property. The best among these procedure, it is in fact not a truncation at all. Duden-Klemenok. There was one Brewer also involved in this at the first in the first work. So they were considering what is called asymptotically quasi-Toeplitz Markov chains. That means the structure is such that all these levels will be looking, the entries in the levels will be looking not alike. They are all different. It is level dependent, and therefore you cannot expect a repeating structure. So Duden, Klemenok, and Brewer also was involved in the first work. They looked at this one. So they called this infinitesimal generator as asymptotically quasi-Toeplitz. And they look at a Markov chain on a countably infinite state space, discrete a Markov chain, use that to analyze this particular Q. That is what is done in the asymptotically quasi-Toeplitz, that procedure. It's really very well working. You are not approximating, rather it is exact procedure. That's the advantage with that. But it is a bit hard compared to other things. I should not say just a bit hard, it is really hard. What happens when arrivals and services are in batches of finite size? So that is the next stage of analyzing the situation. We have batch arrivals. It may be compound boson. Service can be again in batches. What will happen then? Service and batches of a finite size. It will not be exceeding a certain size. In this case, the QBD structure is as such lost, because suppose we take a single customer for a service. So when he leaves, the level is dropping only by 1. If I take 2 customers in a batch for a service, then on completion of the service, the level is dropping by 2. So we have a non-zero entry, block matrix entry on the lower diagonal, the second lower diagonal. So it can just go on. Suppose there are the maximum service batch size is B, then it can drop by B. Similarly, on the upper side, with a single arrival, it will be a block matrix entry on the right side, on the first upper diagonal. 2 customers would mean that it is increasing by 2, and therefore on the second upper diagonal, and so on. If there is the maximum batch size is restricted to be A, then up to A upper diagonal, we can have non-zero entries, non-zero block entries. So how to make it tri-diagonal? That's the question arising. So let us take capital M, which is the maximum of A and B. In order to make it the earlier one, a tri-diagonal matrix, redefine the level by using the relation congruent modulo M. So for example, I'm just taking the A as equal to 10 and B as equal to 5. So the maximum of these two things is 10. And then depending on the number of customers arriving, suppose there are only 9 customers arriving, and now I have 11 customers in the system. So this plus 9 would make it 20. And therefore, I'm now moving to a higher level. If it is 8 customers, it is only going to 19. And therefore, it is still in the same level, but the sub-level is increased by 8 and so on. Thus, in the level 0, we have 0, 1 to m minus 1. I just arranged it in that. Level 1 has a sub-levels m to 2m minus 1 and so on. This ensures the QBD structure for the infinitesimal generator. Thus, for example, BMAP, BMSPQ may be one server, single server, or a finite number of servers. Has the infinitesimal generator with the QBD structure. But then, here is the problem. Unlimited batch size. Suppose there is no restriction on the size of the batches that arrive or size of the batches that are served out. There comes problems. If batch sizes are unbounded, the above indicated procedure cannot be used. Obviously, we know why. Because earlier case, you could use this congruent modulo, but now it is not possible. It becomes a meaningless thing. If we have BMAP, BMSP with the C servers, can be one or a finite number. Then the infinitesimal generator has non-zero block matrix entries on both sides of the diagonal. There comes the biggest challenge, extending endlessly on either side of the main diagonal. Endlessly means, well, you can go to the left extreme, you can go to any extent on to the right. This is indeed a very hard situation. However, if only one of BMAP and BMSP is in force, that means either we have the BMAP with arrival with the unlimited batch sizes, and or BMSP, the service batch size, we can decide to serve all customers who are available at the beginning of when the new batch is taken for service. Then we have entries extending towards either the right or to the left, but not to both sides. So this is the situation. Therefore, that again can be handled. For example, suppose we go for taking all customers for service, all those who are waiting for service, they are all taken for service on completion of the present batch of customers, which means that the number of customers accumulating or will be at the time when this particular batch will be completing service will be those who arrived during the service time of this batch. So the level will be actually without that arrival, this system size can drop to 0. With arrival, if that is again in batches, then it can sometimes go beyond the main diagonal to the right of that. So if only one of them is operating, then we are obviously at a great advantage. Now this led to what are called MG1 type and GAM1 type queues. For example, if we have a BMSP, service time in batches, and service in batches. So departure will be in batches, whereas the arrival will be in single. So it can go to the increase only by 1 with an arrival, whereas the decrease can be anything by 1 by 2 and, or whatever. It can go up to the left extreme as well. So that will be essentially giving us the GAM1 type. GAM1 type, because if you look at the GAM1Q, the classical GAM and Q. We have a scalar entries, but that will be having the property that it is the structure essentially with the elements in the lower part of the diagonal, yeah, embedded at arrival epochs. So only one arrival, but there can be several services completed during that arrival. All customers can leave the system as well. So almost all will be therefore accumulated. We have at most positive entries along the upper diagonal, not beyond that is not to the right of that. Similarly, if we have a BMAP and the service is in single, then what happens is that we get a structure similar to the MG1Q. Instead of the scalar entries, where those are probabilities, probability of say this much customers arriving during a service time. So that way you will have entries above, including that lower diagonal, we have non-zero entries. Below the lower diagonal, we have all entries 0 in the classical case. Similar here, instead of the scalars, you will have matrices, that's all, block matrices. Therefore, we call them MG1 type and GAM1 type. So, whereas when it is QBD structure, we employ what is called the matrix geometric method, because we get the solution of the type xn equal to x naught r power n. So it is a matrix and geometric in the sense that well it is just increasing in the geometric fashion, and matrix is also present there. It is all just viewed from that structure of that solution to the MM1Q. That's how Marcel Newt imagined what would be happening, and they proceeded to compute all these things, or rather derive. Okay. Now, having said that much, that is what is called Markov-Markovin arrival process. Suppose we have different streams of arrival. Now, each can be according to a Markovin arrival process. So, if there are k different streams, k different types of customers, and each arrives according to a Markovian arrival process, then what will happen is that there will be k Markovian arrival processes, and therefore the dimension will be 2 times k. There will be that much information that will be required. Whereas suppose we just combine all of them, a matrix indicating no arrival, another matrix indicating arrival of the first type of customer, and so on. Last matrix I call it dk, that indicates arrival of customers of the kth type. Then what will happen? So this will mean that we have, without any difficulty, we could reduce the dimension to a very great extent. If k is very large, for example, k equal to 15, in the first case where if we take each one as map, so 2 into 15 to 30. Whereas in this case, if it is just a Markov-Markovin arrival process, then it will be just 16. There is a lot of difference. That saves rather a lot of computational time also. And no information will be lost either. And additional advantage is that we can look at even the correlation structure. So the problem can be rectified by considering them all together by associating probabilities for customers of each category. This is a representation of the type. This is what I was mentioning for the arrival process, for example. Now, I have 45 minutes in total, right, Alex?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Please take your
So,
time.
oh, no problem. I will probably complete in 10 minutes at most. So, I will be exceeding my time limit by about 3 minutes at most. So, I'm just giving below some of the recent work myself, along with Dr. Alexander Ermiansev or Agassi Milikov and his postdoctoral student, or with Professor Wisniewski and Professor Dimitri, that were completed. So I'm just to give a gist of what is done in these things. This is the first one is the most recent paper that was published in mathematics. In fact, it was after the paper with Dr. Rimensev that this paper was accepted. It is a Markov-Markov arrival process. So two types of customers we have considered. And they have two distinct service time, both phase type distributed. But the interesting thing here is customers in the first queue, which is a finite one, they have priority over the second type of customers. The first type of customers during after service either leaves the system or they turn out to be feedback customers. Now, the feedback customers in a earlier literature, the feedback customers were either joining the same queue at the tail end of the queue or as the head of the queue itself. That means I complete service and I make a feedback. So I'll be immediately then again taken for service. In the latter case, where the feedback is as the head of the queue, if at all there is a feedback customer in the system, it will be the one under service. Whereas in the first case, where the feedback is to the tail end of the queue, sometimes all customers in the queue can be feedback customers. Or there will be one or more. Sometimes there will not be any feedback customer. Sometimes there may be more than one feedback customer. All of them can also be feedback customers. But then, to get over that difficulty, to identify the feedback customers, that earlier, in an earlier work, myself and Manjudas introduced the feedback policy that they are driven to a lower priority queue. So there again, we have got the infinite block matrices as the entries of the infinitesimal generator. So here, after a service, from the first queue, that is priority one queue, they either leave the system or go to the second queue because they are feedback customers. And from there, they are served when the first queue is empty. Similarly, in the second queue, customers from outside also join. They can also join. That's why I used Markov in our process. Otherwise, there was no need of doing that. So second queue, and I can also do the same thing with just one single map rather than a Markov in arrival process. A single type of customer arrival, but within the system. So after service, a customer, if he feeds back, he has to go to the lower priority queue. And for lower priority queue, we have a separator. So in that case, there is no external entry. It's only just one stream of arrival, nothing more. So this can be therefore reduced to from the present one. And so this is a type of discussion that we have given there. A number of measures were computed, and then that is how it was all done. The second one, analysis of interdependent process, but that is in an entirely different context. It was introducing a new procedure for analyzing interdependence between processes involved in a multidimensional process. So that is, in fact, a very complicated structure. The third one This is a paper with Dr. Alexander Rumiantsev, multi-server heterogeneous queuing system in queuing inventory system with a class-dependent inventory access. So we have different streams of customers arriving to the system, priority 1, priority 2, let us say k priorities. So Markov process is considered. And first priority we have assumed to have infinite waiting space. Rest of them have only finite space. But then we impose a condition because after all there is attached inventory. So then what therefore happens is that the last priority customers will not be served if the inventory level turns out to be below a certain level. There is what is called the SS policy of purchase of the item, and therefore when the capital S is the maximum that can be held in the inventory, then there is a lower level S1 below which no customer or the last category, last priority will be served. Then there is another S2 below this S1, which will be the upper bound, no, lower bound for the customers of the least second category to be served, below which no customer of that category will be served, and so on. The first priority, the last but one priority, the second priority customers will be served as long as the items are available in inventory whose level is above little s, the reorder level. And then highest priority customers will be served as long as there is inventory. This is how it is just done. And it was a really wonderful work. Dr. Alexander did something really wonderful in that paper, and to make it look in an entirely different style. The fourth one that appeared in the Annals of Operations Research, that again during this year, March of this year, a paper with Thanya Shajan, Jason George, and myself. Here it is a inventory again, but we introduced a new concept. There is a necessary item that every customer will be purchasing a necessary item. Along with that, they will ask for optional inventories also. That they may not require certain items, so they won't go for that. If they would like to have some item which is optional, then they can purchase that. The service time of the necessary item, the essential item, more than necessary, I should have used the word essential, that is phase type distributed, whereas the other things have exponentially distributed service time. So again, we get a multidimensional Markov chain, but all these things are all level independent. Then comes perhaps one of the toughest paper, which is which again appeared in Mathematics this year, analysis of a batch arrival, batch service queuing inventory system with the processing of inventory while on vacation. So in the previous case, in the case of the paper mentioned as 3, we were purchasing items from outside. The system was purchasing items, that means inventory from outside. But in 5, what is assumed is that whenever the server is idle, that means no customer in the system, he goes for processing at the end of his service. If there is no more customer waiting, the server goes for processing items. So you can call them the inventory, and that is for service of the customers. Now here, arrivals are in batches, services are in batches, which both are batch Markovian, batch Markovian arrival process and batch Markovian service process. But then there is one more condition imposed, that the successive arrival batch sizes, they are Markov dependent. That means there is a Markov chain governing the batch size of the successive arrival batch sizes. Similarly, the service batch sizes are again governed by a Markov chain rule. That actually complicated the thing like anything, but we succeeded in solving that. The another important factor that I should mention is that the service time depends on the number of customers in the batch being served. That is the interesting thing. Not only that, there is some added interesting thing in this. That suppose the Markov chain decides that, say, for example, 5 customers should be taken in the next batch for service. And at the end of the present service, only 3 customers are available. Then server becomes idle. Idle in the sense that there is customers waiting, but still the server is idle because the required batch size is not available. So he again goes for processing the item. Once he starts processing, he will stop processing the items only when the inventory level reaches a certain threshold. Therefore, there was a lot of complication, but we succeeded in tackling all that, and that too received some interesting comments. Then there is what is called analysis of a case stage bulk service queuing system with accessible batches for service. That again appeared in Mathematics. It's a paper by me, Anu Nodan Joshua, and Vladimir Vishnevsky. The other one was with Dmitry Kosarev, not with Professor Vishnevsky. Yeah. So this one is a typical one in transport system. There will be a main bus station where from customers will be boarding a passenger transport system. Then there are several nodes or several intermediate points where customers will be boarding that but not getting out. Now, the case of getting out also is considered separately in a different paper. And then all these passengers are bound to the same destination. Only thing is they get into this transport system, provided, of course, the capacity of the system is not reached. They cannot get into the system if the capacity is already attained. So from intermediate station, passengers will be collected only if there is vacant seats. So that is termed as an inventory, if you want. And then that was what. And that again gave quite nice results. And then a 2-server queuing inventory model with 2 types of customers and dedicated server. This is a paper by Nisha, Matthew, Joshua, and myself that is accepted for publication in the CCS 2021 connection with to be published in connection with the DCCN 2021. Finally, there are 2 papers that are under preparation with Dr. Alexander, remains there, along with several other papers that are already part of the literature, exhibit the enormous possibilities of the MGM and MAM, that the matrix geometric method and matrix analytic method in stochastic modeling. One of the papers that we are working on, it is with Resmi, Jacob, Dr. Alexander, and myself. The dual of the work that I reported here in 3, the first item in this slide. So dual of that in the sense that we have distinct class of customers, they arrive in according to the Markov process. But customers with the highest priority are served the item only up to a certain age of the item, which means that if we assume that the lifetime of the items for service, that the inventory for service is long distributed, having a certain number of stages. So if they are fresh means up to a certain stage, suppose their life proceeds, then beyond that, first time customers with highest category will not be served the item. This is to just gain keep them in good spirit, in order to protect the what is called the reputation of the organization. For regular customers, what I mean by highest priority is regular customers. For others, well, we don't bother. The organization may not be bothering, but regular customers, their opinion have a great significance. They can comment on that, and probably the reputation of the organization will be totally gone. And therefore, they are very careful about regular customers. For the others, because they are coming once in a while or just once in lifetime, so they don't have to bother. So the dual of this particular problem is what is discussed in the other one. And the last type of customers, they will be served the inventory as long as there is item left. That is what is being considered in that. I am trying to recollect the content of the other one. I'm not able to yet get it because it is with Anu Nuthan Joshua, myself, and Dr. Alexander. Now, one of the very recent work that I completed, minimal pH representation for gamma distribution, that I passed on this paper, a very short paper, maybe 5 to 6 pages, to a soft copy of this was passed on to Dr. Alexander, remains sir. What it just says is something like, does is something like this. Gamma distribution, I started with this assumption that gamma distribution was defined in terms of the particular gamma integral. Gamma p equal to integral 0 to infinity e power minus t power p minus 1 dt. And then normalizing, that means dividing by gamma p either both sides, we get 1 on the left side, and therefore the quantity within the integral is an ideal candidate for a density function. And this p should be positive. But then I was looking for, I'm not basically a trained statistician. So I just looked for the definition of the gamma distribution and found that it is, in fact, starting with the chi-square distribution. Look at the chi-square distribution with n degrees of freedom. Chi-square distribution would mean that it is, you take n standard normal random variables, normal distributions, therefore standard normal random variables, take the square of them, divide by the total number of random variables. That means x1 square plus 1 plus xn square divided by n. Now multiply by a parameter, a number b, which is positive. So b by n. That is the multiplicative factor. And this has the distribution, namely the gamma distribution. That was what I could later on find. I was really surprised that gamma distribution has such a definition. I was not aware, totally unaware of such a definition. But then I was trying to find out the connection between this b by n and p. After a long thought, I found that this b by n cannot be anything other than p. I asked several statisticians, they were not able to give me an answer. But then I feel that b by n should be equal to b because b is positive. The multiplication by b. So b by n we have, and b has to be positive. So then what I did was, anyway, starting with that gamma integral, and then connection between the gamma and the Erlang distribution, I used a certain representation for the gamma distribution as gamma distribution, which is actually, suppose that this p equal to 10.5. I'm giving an example. Then the integer part is 10 and the fractional part, proper fraction, is 0.5. So consider 10 IID exponential random variables for the, and therefore we have x1 plus x2 plus x10, which has the Erlang distribution of order 10. And then the last one, that fractional part, what I do is I take 0.5 into x. The x is a random variable having the same distribution as the x1, x2, etc. Extent. Now, gamma distribution is essentially same as the distribution of this sum. That is x1 plus 1 plus x10 plus 0.5 times x. And Dr. Vishwanath, he wanted to just verify whether my results are correct. He just plotted a rather simulation he just used and found that there is almost an exact coincidence. And that's all. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Any question? I'll try to answer. Probably I have exceeded my, oh, goodness, I exceeded my time by...
No problem, no problem. It's fine. Thank you so much, Krishnamurti. Thank you. And I hope there are any questions. Please welcome.